Nigeria's 2027 presidential election may still be months away, but the political battle is already heating up. President Bola Tinubu is strengthening his political machinery, while major opposition figures are discussing how they can work together to challenge the ruling APC. But here is the big question. Can Nigeria's opposition actually unite strongly enough to challenge Tinubu, or will internal disagreements once again work in the APC's favor? Let's take a closer look. President Bola Tinubu recently met with APC governors at the presidential villa in Abuja. The meeting comes amid controversy surrounding the APC's Presidential Campaign Council after the release of the council's list generated criticism and questions within the party. Reports indicated that the party is working to resolve those concerns and strengthen its campaign structure. And this is important because Nigeria's presidential campaign period has already officially begun. So, while many Nigerians may feel that the 2027 election is still far away, the major political parties are already preparing for the context. For Tinubu and APC, the priority is clear. Keep the party united, strengthen the campaign machinery, and convince Nigerians that the APC deserves another term. But the opposition is facing a completely different challenge. Several opposition politicians and parties are now discussing greater cooperation ahead of 2027. A major meeting is scheduled for August 31st in Abuja, involving opposition figures including Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Seyi Makinde, Donald Duke, and Adewale Adebayo. The purpose is to explore how opposition forces can cooperate and create a stronger challenge to the APC. On paper, this sounds simple, but politically, it is extremely difficult. Why? Because Atiku has his supporters, Peter Obi has his supporters. Other politicians have their own ambitions, political structures, and supporters. And every major politician wants to believe that he or she can win the presidency. So the biggest question isn't whether these politicians can sit in the same room. The real question is whether they can agree on who should lead the opposition into 2027. The single candidate problem. This is where things could become complicated. If several strong opposition candidates contested separately, they could divide the votes of Nigerians who want a change of government. That could potentially benefit the APC. But if the opposition manages to agree on one strong presidential candidate, the political equation could become much more difficult for Tinubu. However, we should be careful. There is currently no confirmed Atiku Peter Obi presidential ticket. There is no guarantee that the opposition will produce one candidate. What we have at the moment is political discussion, cooperation, and negotiation. And that distinction is important. So, does Tinubu have the advantage? At the moment, the APC has some important advantages. It is the ruling party. It has an established national political structure, and Tinubu has already begun putting his campaign machinery into place. But that doesn't mean victory is guaranteed. The APC will still have to answer difficult questions about the economy, the cost of living, insecurity, unemployment, and the overall condition of the country. And Nigerians will ultimately judge the government based on their own experiences. The opposition, meanwhile, has an opportunity, but only if it can turn political cooperation into something meaningful. Because having many opposition politicians is not the same thing as having a united opposition. What should we watch next? This is why the August 31st opposition meeting could be important. Don't just watch to see who attends. Watch to see what they actually agree on. Will they create a structure for cooperation? Will they establish a process for selecting or supporting candidates? Will the major political figures be willing to compromise? And perhaps the biggest question, can they put their individual ambitions aside for the larger objective of defeating the APC? Because if they can't, the opposition could once again enter an election divided. But if they can, and if they present Nigerians with a credible candidate and a convincing program, then the 2027 election could become much more competitive. And here is my take. In my view, The 2027 election is beginning to look like a contest between political organization and political unity. The APC needs to keep its own house together. The opposition needs to solve its unity problem, and both sides have to convince ordinary Nigerians that they deserve their votes. Ultimately, this election shouldn't simply be about Tinubu versus Atiku or Tinubu versus Peter Obi. It should be about the future of Nigeria. Who has the best plan for the economy? Who can improve security? Who can create jobs? Who can reduce the pressure on ordinary Nigerians? And most importantly, who can Nigerians trust to lead the country? The 2027 election has not been decided, but the political battle is already beginning. So what do you think? Can Nigeria's opposition unite strongly enough to challenge President Tinubu in 2027? Or will internal divisions once again give the APC the advantage? Let me know your thoughts and opinion in the comment section. And for clear analysis of Nigerian politics, current affairs, and the issues shaping the country, subscribe to EbdWorld and turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Until then, bye for now.